Hey guys, Baddies Going Wild Brazil Reunion Episode 1 Review / Recap. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. So the reunion starts very oddly. There's a bunch of people twerking from the audience, showing their cheeks, and Natalie's performing. Baddies pose for me. Natalie cannot rap. Like, live, she sounds a mess. Like, why can't you stay on the beat and perform live? Now she performing the Baddies Whooping Everybody song. Come on, wrap this up. So anyway, we start seeing all of the girls arriving. I kind of went over the looks when I did the reunion trailer recap. I had already seen everybody's looks and gave my opinions. But once again, I'll tell y'all, I felt like Hurricane M looked pretty cute. Cupcake looked a mess in my opinion. I said that Janellis looked cute. I said that Jaden had on a prom dress, which she admitted online. She said she really dressed up because she never went to prom when she was younger. I can relate. I never went to my high school prom either, so I kind of get where she was coming from, I guess. Gloss up, I felt like her outfit was very regular. I said this is something that you wear to the park when you go into a cookout during the summer or something. I don't know. Oxy, the dress was cute. I wasn't a fan of the hair. Rella was cute, but it was very simple. Like, it was just a regular NYC streetwear kind of girl outfit. Coco, I said it looked like she got a prostitute outfit on. She looked like she ready to take a walk on a stroll. Ming, I didn't have much to say about her look. I mean, she wasn't all black, so it wasn't really ugly to me, but it wasn't really cute to me either. Like, she was just there. TT, I felt like she still wasn't that cute, but this is cuter than her usual. Like, I wasn't a fan of the dress, but I was a fan of her makeup and her hair. And then I said Daisy looks an absolute mess. Shay looks like a transformer as usual. You know, she looks like a totally different person. Every time we see her, she just transforms into a new bitch. And then Bahati looked like a grandma to me. The all-white outfit, the platinum blonde, short pixie cut, the silver lip gloss, the silver eyeshadow. I wasn't feeling the look. So at first we get Jaden, Shay, and Oxy backstage. Bahati's not there yet. And Shay was basically asking Jaden who was on her hit list. She said Hurricane M and TT, and also Coco. Then we get to the room with Hurricane M, Coco, and TT. So then Coco and TT was basically saying how Daisy's mad about the Whim Whammy remix that Rella, Hurricane M, Coco, and TT did, because in the song they repeated "Wild Bees Take Shots" over and over again, which we know Daisy came up with that catchphrase for the show. And Daisy also makes music, so she felt like, how y'all gonna use my saying and not include me in the song, and it's supposed to be a Baddies Going Wild song. But clearly they don't really F with Daisy. And I said from the very beginning when I was reviewing the show, and Daisy came up with the saying, if she's smart, she's gonna get it trademarked to protect herself from not only the other girls using it without her permission and not including her, but also Natalie, because Natalie's done that with Baddie Shot O'Clock to Bree from Baddie South. So clearly these girls don't learn. From there, we get to Rella and Janellis. So at first, they just by themselves. And Rella's like, oh, yeah, Janellis, I see you going crazy on Twitch. Giving her tens. And Rella was basically saying how she feel like everybody hates her. All the fans say you disappointed the New York girls, this, that, and the third. And she don't really understand why. And Janellis was like, you know, I feel like I was a fan fave, but the fans even kind of turned on me when I jumped Shay. So you got to just know, like, the fans come and go. They fickle. One day they like you, the next day they don't. Then Janellis started asking Rella about the Whim Whammy remix and Daisy being mad about it. Janellis said she kind of understood where Daisy was coming from because Daisy did make the saying up. And Rella was like, yeah, but she went crazy on us in the group chat and we wasn't even trying to be funny. She just wasn't around when we recorded it. But I feel like y'all could have had her send in a verse before y'all released it. Y'all could have called her on the phone and just had her talk on the song, like in a, you know, an intro or an outro, just talking her shit. Y'all could have did anything to include her. So just be real. Y'all didn't include her because y'all didn't really fuck with Daisy from the beginning. But when y'all was living in that house with her, y'all was too pussy to say it. That's why y'all was all dick riding her. But now y'all got a problem come reunion. So now we back to this room. Bahati has joined Shay, Oxy, and Jaden. So Shay basically said she was going to fight Janellis. You know, they've been going back and forth online. Then they also talked about how Bahati and Daisy been going back and forth online. TT said her fades are Daisy, Bahati, Jaden, Shay, and Oxy. Then TT asked Coco and Hurricane M how they felt about Erica saying that half of the cast was trans. Coco basically was like, that don't got nothing to do with me because she wasn't talking about me. Like, yeah, because we all know exactly who she was talking about. She really was specifically talking about Hurricane M, TT, and Cupcake. Then from there, we back in the room with Rella and Janellis. Ming and Gloss Up have joined them. And Rella is so weird. Like, Ming sat down between her and Janellis, and Rella gonna say, yes, all the New York girls. And then at the same time, Janellis was saying it's a black party because everybody got on black in this room except for Rella. And Rella gonna say, oh, well, I'm not in the black party. Like, girl, okay. Ming asked Rella where she stood with Erica. Rella said, well, Erica said she's not coming today, but we all know that Erica does end up showing up because we saw her in the preview. And Rella basically was like, it's really not nothing. If she wouldn't have hit me with the battery and we would have just fought regular, it wouldn't have been a problem right now. And Janellis was like, okay, so with all that being said, do you regret calling her out? Because the whole reason this happened is because Rella kept begging Erica for a fight that Erica kept saying she didn't want to have. And then it was like you was mad about Erica not fighting for Janellis, but Janellis was never even mad about that. So it's like, why was you mad? Like, that's one thing I would never understand about this season, was how Rella was so mad at Erica for not fighting for Janellis, but Janellis wasn't even mad about Erica not fighting for her. And Daisy was so mad about Janellis not fighting for Erica, and Erica wasn't even mad about Janellis not fighting for her. And Janellis basically said, I just feel like you and Erica whole thing was stupid. Neither one of y'all fought for me realistically, and y'all could have just talked about it. And Rella kind of said something about how Erica was telling her behind the scenes that she feel like she don't get no camera time. So I don't know if she was trying to give Erica a moment or what, but it was like, it was stupid. And it got dragged out even if that's what it was supposed to be originally. And then Janellis was telling Glossop, you had no business jumping in the fight either. Rella and Erica was having a one-on-one. Why did you jump in? And Glossop was like, yeah, you're right. I should have never jumped in. But in real life, I don't let none of my friends fight one-on-one. I always jump in. So you're a cornball. Okay, so we back with Bahati, Oxy, Shay, and Jaden. Oxy is asking Bahati, does she regret not jumping in when they had that whole big brawl outside of the club and Shay and Oxy got jumped? Bahati said, once again, you know, I feel like I was pulling people off. I was telling people not to jump y'all. But like I told y'all, I agree with Bahati to some extent, because when she had all her fights, nobody was jumping in for her. Shay, Oxy, and Jaden always had her back and was there for her after the fact. They was a shoulder for her to cry on, but they wasn't jumping in her fights. So that's all y'all should expect from Bahati, is for her to be a shoulder for y'all to cry on, be there for y'all, have y'all back. But she don't got to jump in y'all fights. But where I did agree with Oxy was that while all of that was going on, TT pulled Bahati's wig off, started hitting her, and then all of the girls was laughing. Rella, Coco, Daisy was rubbing on Bahati's head. They was all playing in Bahati's face. And Bahati was kikiing and playing it cool with all of them. Now, do I think that Bahati was just exhausted and tired of fighting, and she also didn't want to get jumped herself in that moment? Yes. But I still see how that looked crazy to Oxy, Shay, and Jaden when they finally saw it on the show. Because they didn't know that happened until they saw it with us. So it's like I just go back and forth between being on Bahati and Oxy's side. So that's why I said I just see both sides. Because then even after that, Oxy was telling Bahati, oh yeah, you was playing it cool with Daisy and TT, but then you came on the van and got crazy with me. But that's not true, because Oxy was the one who was drunk and belligerent and turning up on Bahati, and she still don't want to admit that. And Bahati was like, girl, I kept telling you to stop going back and forth with me, and you wouldn't stop. I wasn't even saying nothing. And Jaden could vouch for me. And Jaden was like, F me being there and having to vouch for you. It's on camera. Like, Oxy, if you rewatch that episode and you was able to see that, yeah, Bahati was kikiing with Daisy and TT, then you should also be able to see how drunk you was. So it's like neither one of them is taking accountability for their part in the issue, which is also why they having a problem and not really getting nowhere. Oxy not taking accountability for the fact that she was drunk that night and she was talking to Bahati way too crazy. And Bahati not taking accountability for the fact that you was letting TT and Daisy play in your face. You was kikiing with them for whatever reasons you had at that moment. And now your friends saw it and you look crazy. So they want you to take some accountability. All you got to do is be vulnerable with your friends and admit, I was exhausted. I didn't want to get jumped. I was tired of fighting. I had went and got scalped and had to shave my head. Like, I had enough. You need to tell your friends that so they could understand why you was moving like that. So again, Bahati was saying, when I got jumped, none of y'all helped me. Y'all didn't open y'all mouth. Oxy said all of your fights were one-on-ones. Shay said you should have at least helped me when I was getting tagged by Hurricane and Janellis. Then they trying to say that Jaden was locked in the van, and Shay and Oxy are repeating like, yeah, production locked Jaden in the van. Bahati is saying that Jaden wasn't locked in the van. She was just hiding in the van, which is what I assumed as well. We saw her get beat up by TT, and then she went on the van and she never came back out. But it is believable that Zeus Production might have locked Jaden in the van, because we have heard stuff like that. Like J.O. said that Zeus Production locked Callie in the closet so that she wouldn't be able to help Gretch while Gretch was getting jumped. So it is believable. So I'm not going to say that Jaden is lying. But anyway, Bahati had heard enough. She started getting up, and Jaden was like, you don't have to get up, because I'm not going to turn against you and jump on you with them. And Bahati was like, no, like, I don't want to hear nothing. She walked out, and that was Jaden's face above me. And Jaden was basically saying Bahati is childish because she walking away when they just trying to have a conversation and they supposed to be friends. So then we in this room again with Coco, TT, and M. Cupcake and Daisy come walking in, and Coco going to say, who the fuck let a walrus in here? So Daisy was like, where the walrus at? Bitch, get up. So Daisy and Coco start fighting. Daisy was running through these hoes. I'm not going to lie. They made this whole first episode about Daisy and Janellis for sure. And Daisy was tearing shit down. Like, Daisy punched like a hammer. So when Daisy and Coco started fighting, TT tried to jump in for Coco, and Cupcake was basically breaking it up, like telling TT to stop jumping in, and she's neutral between everybody. Hurricane M was telling Cupcake to stop playing security. We got security here for that. You don't need to be getting involved in none of these fights. And Cupcake was basically saying she neutral with everybody, and she didn't want to see Daisy get jumped. I understood where both of them was coming from. I understand Cupcake not wanting Daisy to get jumped. I'm not here for jumping, so I don't think she's wrong for intervening. I just think she's the wrong person to do it, and I think that's what Hurricane M was getting at. You're not security. We have security here, and you... And also, she was like, Cupcake, you here with a boot on your foot. So, yeah, you out of all people, you should not be breaking nothing up. So they had got Coco and TT out of the room. Hurricane was still in there. And Daisy was like, yeah, Hurricane. And what do you mean? Why are you telling Cupcake not to break it up? Was you trying to let them jump me? Hurricane backed down, in my opinion. And she was telling Daisy, no, I only said that because Cupcake has a boot on her foot. So she need to stay out of the fights. But later on stage, when Daisy fights Janellis, which we'll get to, Hurricane M was trying to run up on the stage again. So was you trying to run on stage to defend your friend Janellis, but when Daisy was in your face, you had nothing to say? Like, I feel like Hurricane M definitely would jump in Daisy fights, but she don't want to have a one-on-one fight with Daisy, so she played nice in Daisy face. Okay, so back in the room with Gloss, Rella, Ming, and Janellis. Janellis was basically saying the fans love Erica. I knew they was going to love Erica because she just give a bad B kind of vibe. So Rella was like, bye, bitch. And she put her hand in Janellis' face. And she was like, you always trying to be funny. No, I don't fuck with Erica, so why you keep trying to say stuff about her? But then Rella was like, you right, though. The fans do, though. They do love Erica. And Janellis was like, yeah, so don't react like that because it makes you come off like a hater. And Rella going to say, I don't care if I come off like a hater. What do I need to hate on Erica for? I'm rich. I have so many bathrooms. I don't even know which one to shit in. People who are really rich don't talk about how rich they are. So clock it. Like, the only time you're supposed to flex like that is if you saying it in a rap. You're a rapper. Put that in your lyrics. But for you to just be talking like that, you sound stupid. And then Janellis basically was like, I don't understand why me saying Erica's name or anytime Erica come up, it get under your skin so bad. Then Rella gonna say, yeah, well, this is not Twitch, babe. You trying to look for a clip. And Janellis was like, girl, no, I'm not. Like, I'm being real. Then Janellis was basically like, I don't know what you're trying to get at. Aren't you an influencer too? So why are you bringing up me clip farming on Twitch when that don't got nothing to do with what we talking about right now? And Rella going to say, yeah, well, I don't do Twitch. I don't need to do Twitch. I make money. But when this conversation first started, you literally started off giving her tens about her being on Twitch and going up on Twitch. And then from the research I've done, people say you on Twitch yourself, but you only got a couple thousand followers. And they said your boyfriend is a Twitch streamer. So I'm confused, Rella. So from there, Rella jumps over Ming and sneaks Janellis. They start fighting. In my opinion, Janellis got that, especially because Rella caught her off guard and she still was not tearing Janellis up. Like, all Rella was doing was pulling hair. I literally saw Janellis trying to swing more, even if all of her punches weren't connecting. At least she was punching. Rella was just pulling. So Ming and Gloss Up was like, why are y'all fighting? Like, they was losing it. They was actually funny to me in this scene. And then when they was breaking them up, Rella was like, get her off my leg. She's biting my leg. Janellis literally ate Rella. Like, she was biting her ankles. Y'all know I'm never here for biting. I always hate that kind of stuff, but I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit funny, but it still wasn't good. I wish Janellis didn't do that, but I did chuckle. Then when they broke them up, Rella tried to call Janellis a tall doofy bitch, and Janellis was like, girl, I look better than you. So Oxy and Shay basically telling Jaden that they're not gonna have Bahati back when they go on the stage. They feel like Bahati needed to just admit that she was wrong. So y'all know Jaden always want to be the peacemaker in this group. So she went to talk to Bahati outside. And she was telling Bahati, I see both sides. I'm not jumping on you with Shay and Oxy. Jaden was like, the only reason I started yelling at you to Bahati is because Bahati tried to make it seem like Jaden didn't really get locked on the sprinter. And was basically saying, I don't understand why y'all got all this energy for me, but y'all don't got none of this energy for Jaden. And Jaden basically saying, Bahati, you don't need to be bringing me up because I'm the only one that's being neutral and not coming at you like Shay and Oxy. And apparently she's sticking to the story that she really was locked on the sprinter. Long story short, Jaden says she don't want to be in the middle of it. Oxy and Bahati gonna have to talk this out on their own. Bahati says she feel like she talked to Oxy about it enough. They talked about it on the show. They talked about it after the show. They talked about it off camera. They talked about it on camera. At this point, she feel like Oxy not gonna get over it. Oxy gonna keep nitpicking. So maybe she just don't need to fuck with Oxy. Oxy comes out. Jaden was basically like, I'm gonna let y'all talk on your own. I don't want to be in the middle of it. Oxy tried to get Jaden to stay out there talking about Jaden as a good mediator, and Jaden was like, no. I feel like Jaden is growing up. Like, she started kind of meek and timid in this group at the beginning of the season. I feel like she coming into her own person, which I'm glad about. Jaden grew on me throughout the season. So to me, Oxy did what she did before, which is she came outside and started playing victim. She was telling Bahati, I don't know why you got so mad. but you was the one who started coming at Bahati in the room. And it's the same thing that she did originally when they got into it. When Bahati moved her stuff out of the room, Oxy was like, oh, I don't know why Bahati is so mad. Why is she moving out of our room? You was the one who was mad at her and was talking crazy to her. Why are you acting slow when she removes herself from being around you? Then Bahati basically started telling Oxy that they wasn't even that close. And Oxy was like, okay, I'm done with this conversation and you on your own. Bahati said she been on her own. She been fighting by herself. She don't care. Conversation went nowhere. So Oxy went back in the room with Jaden and she was basically like, yeah, Bahati is on her own. She always be getting beat up and we be having her back. So now they going to see they fan fave get beat up. And this is where I started to feel like Oxy been had like some resentment towards Bahati. Like she been waiting to get this shit off, because why are you saying all of that like, oh, she always lose her fights and now the fans gonna see they fan fave get beat up, I'm not helping her? Like, I don't know. And then Oxy was basically saying how her and Bahati both fought Daisy didn't leave a mark on her, but she clearly took Bahati's hair off. So I guess everything that was happening between Rella and Janellis was in the room that had Rella's name on it. So she called herself kicking Janellis out of her room. So Janellis was escorted out. And then as far as Coco, TT, and Daisy, Coco and TT still in the hallway. Coco telling them to get her wig, get her hair. And Daisy was basically talking to the camera saying how Coco and TT came here and planned to jump her because she beat them up on the season and they knew they needed their lick back. They couldn't beat her one-on-one, so they had to jump her. And she was like, they wanted to be cool with me all season. Some of them even wanted to eat my cat, which we know TT and Daisy, we peeped that while we was watching the show, that it looked like they had something going on. So I feel like she basically confirmed that. But once they friends and they family saw that Daisy beat them up, they friends was like, why you didn't get your lick back? So now they feel away. So from there, we see our hosts, Janisha, Isaiah, Jay, and Zoe Spencer. They're backstage and basically just talking about what's going to happen tonight. So then Janisha basically asked Zoe and Isaiah their opinion about who should get that third chain. Zoe was basically saying she feel like it should go to Shay or Oxy. So we finally getting on the stage. I forgot to screenshot this because I think I forgot it happened. But Coco, TT, Hurricane M, Rella went on stage with Natalie and Lemmy in the back. Apparently, they were performing the Whim Whammy remix that we've been discussing that Daisy's mad about. But we didn't hear anything because I guess they couldn't use the beat because they don't own the beat. So we just heard their voices saying lyrics to no beat and saw them jumping around dancing. It was stupid as fuck. If y'all can't come up with your own beats and your own music that y'all could use, don't waste my time performing it on the show. So Janisha comes out, Zoe comes out, Isaiah's in the crowd. They do these introductions all over again. And Janisha tells them that somebody is getting the $50K tonight. Whoever was voted the most for the most valuable baddie, which of course we already know Bahati won. Now, when Zoe came on stage, Janisha asked her who she felt like should get the third chain. I don't know why she didn't stick to her original answer that she had backstage, which was Shay and Oxy, but she decided to say, oh, well, TT really wanted it. The audience did not want to hear that shit. They started booing Zoe. So Isaiah said he felt like Shay should get the third chain, and then he started giving the mic to people in the audience. So somebody said Oxy should get it, but they seem like they don't even really watch the show because they want to say Oxy or Bahati. Like, Bahati already got one. What episode did you miss? And then somebody said Janellis, but Isaiah was saying Janellis didn't stand on business for her friend, so he don't know about that. Like I told y'all, I don't feel like Erica or Janellis fought for each other, and I don't think either one of them was mad about it. They defended each other verbally, and that's all they expected out of each other, so I don't understand why everybody else is so mad about it. So from there, they bring Daisy on the stage. The crowd boos her down. Next, they bring out Janellis. The crowd cheers for Janellis, but as soon as she tries to walk on the stage, Daisy charges at her. Now, that first round, Daisy tore Janellis down to the ground. Then out of nowhere, we see TT trying to run on the stage and jump in. And like I told y'all earlier, Hurricane M and Coco was also trying to run on the stage and jump in. Now, I will say, I don't know if Daisy wasn't connecting or what, but Janellis was pretty much unfazed after the first round, and she kind of looked untouched. So Janellis is telling Daisy she sucks. They end up going for a second round. Daisy beat Janellis up again. She had her on the couch. She was tearing her up. Then we saw Janellis go over and give Zoe a hug. I told y'all that those two were friends in real life, so I hope that it doesn't make Zoe a biased host. And then Daisy decides that she wants a third round, and she runs up on Janellis again. Now, I will say that this round Janellis did a little bit better. Daisy did get her down on the couch, but then Daisy was kind of missing hits. And you could see that Janellis was kind of bopping Daisy on the top of her head a little bit. But I feel like Janellis' hits are soft, so it probably wasn't affecting Daisy. So the crowd was cheering Janellis' name. For a second, Janellis and Daisy was both sitting down. It looked like Janisha was going to try to get some dialogue in, but then Janellis got up. She started walking across the stage, and Daisy looked like she was going to charge at Janellis again, but the security didn't let it happen. And Isaiah was like, okay, Daisy, enough. Like, you already beat Janellis up 2 or 3 times. So then Janisha was like, okay, I guess I'll just talk to Daisy alone. So Janisha basically asked Daisy what the beef was. Daisy said that Janellis spoke on her parenting online, and Janellis shouldn't be speaking on nobody's parenting because she's not a parent. And she said she never spoke on Janellis' family, so she don't understand why Janellis took it to that level. She said the only thing she said about Janellis was that she was thirsty for content, and she don't understand why Janellis got so offended by that, because Janellis is a content creator and like an influencer. So for those who don't know, Janellis had basically came online and said that Daisy went on Baddies Going Wild and left her child at home, and her child was only 4 months. So she said that Daisy was 4 months postpartum. So Daisy was like, oh, that's a lie. That's not true. My kid was 6 months and they was very well taken care of. They was with their dad. 4 months and 6 months is not that much difference. They're still an infant. So yeah. So after Daisy gave that whole speech, you hear somebody in the audience shout, "No money for the baby." And then Daisy crashes out. She gets up. She's walking up to the audience. She's like, who said that? Who said that? Then Daisy throws her wig into the audience. They threw it right back. Nobody wanted it. So Daisy ends up getting taken backstage. So when we see her going backstage, Coco's trying to get at her. Eventually we see her in the parking lot. TT's trying to get at her. And Daisy just looks unfazed. Like... So they bring Ming on stage. She come out talking stupid as always, talking about she do this shit for New York. Ming gets on my fucking nerves. Like, I literally don't know if she always sounds stupid because she's literally 19 and immature, or do she always sound stupid because we learned that she's a sloppy drunk and probably doing other stuff based on her behavior on the show. But every time she speak, she just sounds stupid. So then they brought out Gloss, and surprisingly, the crowd did clap for Ming and Gloss, even though they booed for basically everybody else. And I think Isaiah noticed that, so he was like, y'all fake. Because online, for the most part, everybody says they don't like Ming and Gloss. But even like I told y'all when I did my rankings, I said like out of that whole group, Ming, Gloss, Rella, TT, Coco, Hurricane M, Ming and Gloss are not as bad as the others. So they bring Rella and Hurricane M on stage. They both got booed. And then they bring out TT, who also got booed. Now, I do not like TT at all, but this was actually her best look to me. Like, I feel like this hair really suits her face and her makeup looks good. Like, she looks really pretty right here. So Janisha basically asked TT when she sat down why she got so emotional about the chain. She said she watched this show growing up, so I guess she's referring to the original Bad Girls Club. So she said it was just a statement, and her getting it from Natalie would have meant something for her. But I just don't understand the correlation, because they didn't have chains on the Bad Girls Club. The only thing they would do sometimes is they would all get like the matching tattoo at the end of the season or something, but the chains was never a thing. So I guess she just wanted to get something from Natalie. Maybe Natalie was her favorite bad girl or something. I don't know. But she also said that she's just very competitive in general. So I guess she just wanted to win. Then they bring out Cupcake. Cupcake got booed as well, was twerking, talking about everybody's mad, came out and explained why she got a boot on her foot. So she claimed she fractured her fibula playing with her dog. Cupcake, please. So Janisha was like, okay, so Cupcake, some of the audience feels like you're not being honest and you're lying. She didn't even say exactly about what. I feel like Janisha didn't want to ask Cupcake outright, like, are you trans? So she just basically put it on the audience. So next thing you know, Cupcake is pulling boobs out, pulling cat out. Everything's blurred out, so I'm still not convinced. Like, to me, Cupcake did this for shock value and thought that we was gonna be gagged. I wasn't gagged. I wasn't impressed. I was disgusted. And like I said, they blurred it out. I still couldn't see nothing. Even if I could see something, you could have had surgery for that. If you wanted to prove something to us, you should have showed us a birth certificate. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. Anyway, child, the episode ends there. So my most valuable baddies for Baddies Going Wild Brazil episode 1 are Daisy, Janellis, and Jaden. And my least valuable baddies are Rella, Cupcake, and TT. And dishonorable mentions for least valuable baddies, Hurricane M and Coco too. Okay, y'all, so that's the end of my Baddies Going Wild Brazil reunion episode 1 review/recap. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all later. Bye.